In this video, we're going to be talking about something that helps with your health, clarity, your visioning, your imagination, capturing ideas, something that has been very helpful in my own life, and that today is journaling. Welcome to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Solomon Brisen. I'm a health coach here in Houston, Texas, and let's get to it. Growing up, I actually used to be that kid who loved to keep a planner and to write down, assignments I had to do in school, or different thoughts or some quote or an idea a teacher would say that would stick to me, and I just loved to kind of put it down on paper. And growing up, the more and more I did that, there was something like fascinating, almost like liberating, being able to capture something I hear or something I thought, whether it was an idea or even just putting a school assignment onto paper. It was not only liberating that it would be out of my head, but I could see it tangibly on paper. And the more and more I kind of grew up, and continued it in college, mainly just for a kind of planner, but also began to get a journal and to write down my thoughts on a journal. And it just helped me kind of expand my whole perception and way of seeing things, because as a visual learner, I was able to, like I said earlier, put whatever I was thinking onto a piece of paper. The more and more I grew up and realized that I'm not identified with my thoughts that come up into my head, then it also, as I began to see, and will express to you here in this video, is that I could choose whether to think that certain thought or not, because I am not my thoughts. So now by putting a negative thought that may arise, or a worry or a doubt or something bothering me on a piece of paper, now it was like I could have a conversation with myself and see if that thought would benefit me in any way, or where am I placing my attention, and so many more ways to use it. One main reason you may want to consider journaling, and journaling often throughout the day or consecutively every day, is because it also helps put you into the present moment. So like I was mentioning, how you're capturing a thought or an idea or whatever it may be onto a piece of paper. By doing that, it's also grounding you into the present moment, because a lot of the times we could be thinking about something that happened in the past or something happened in the future, like I mentioned in my last video about my experience at the meditation retreat. But by crystallizing it and putting it onto paper, now I can look at that thought as it is, for what it is, and really kind of then dive into it and explore what it's coming from. There's this really great quote, one of my favorite quotes I heard: "Thoughts disentangle themselves out the lips and through pencil tips." If just by putting it down on paper and looking into exactly what this thought was, then you can kind of disentangle it and see where there may be a limited belief or a doubt may arise. And ultimately, we want to be in this present moment and calm and trusting with where we're going and what had happened. And so that's one really great reason why to do it. Another great thing to consider, and why maybe you would want to journal, is great thinkers have journals, whether it was Einstein or Thomas Edison. And a great thing I heard once from Jim Quick was it that these wise and intelligent innovators kept journals, or is it that they became wise because of their continuous and consecutive journaling habits that allowed them to see where they would place their attention, where their mind would go, and what things they would often be thinking about? Number two is it helps build your creativity. The more and more you write down ideas and just capturing them, whether it's on your phone or on a journal, the more and more you'll go on through the day, kind of noticing things you may think about that could improve something, or an idea for a book or a vision or a course that you may want to have. It's like building a muscle. It really is a skill that the more and more you practice it, the more and more you'll start seeing it and cultivating that in your life. And then third, as I mentioned a few times, it really builds a way of communicating with yourself by capturing everything that's going on here. And sometimes, I know it's been a lot in my own life, and I'm sure in yours too, sometimes there's a lot going on in our life, whether it's in school or out of school, and all the different demands going on. And sometimes it feels like you just can't get out of your head. But by putting it on paper, you can see all the different demands and things and priorities you have to get to, and you can kind of just, as I've heard Tim Ferriss say, just kind of like throw up whatever's inside your head onto paper, and it really just helps kind of get it out onto paper, and then you can look at all the different things, at kind of pieces rather than all jumbled inside the head, and then you can structurally and in an order address what's most important. There's plenty other reasons why to get into journaling, but these are 3 top reasons why. And now let's get into a couple ways of how you can utilize journaling to help you. First way to use journaling that I want to talk about is for observation. To use journaling to go throughout your day, just observing different things that you see, different things you hear, different things you feel, different things you think that stick out to you. And the point of this observation is also on a greater perspective, maybe after a week, after a month, and even after like a quarter, you're beginning to see patterns of things that you're placing your attention on. What are the common thoughts that you have throughout a day or throughout a week? What are the common feelings you have towards the different things that you're engaged in, whether it's school, the subject you're studying in school, the sports you're playing, the activities you're doing after school, throughout outside of school and to work and around different people. Just beginning to now observe on a larger scale your whole life and all the things that that going on through it, and really paying keen attention to what thoughts and feelings arise around those things, those knowns, those things that you engage in your own life. Like I said, for that purpose of then recognizing after a few days or a week or whatever the length may be, the patterns and the tendencies that you may be able to do, so that you can become more familiar with yourself, with the things that your attention often goes towards. And also with that builds an awareness to then you can improve in a certain area of your life, such as being grateful. It's something you hear often, especially nowadays, which is a great thing. And it's also a skill that you can build on. So by observing where you may be placing your attention, maybe something bothered you during the day, whether from somebody in your life or something just unexpected occurred, and you journal about it, and you see where you're placing your attention. So let's say you missed an event that you're going to, or you got there late. And it's often that what our attention goes to and how we missed so much of what happened, or we got to that thing late. Rather, we can place our attention on the other things that we're grateful for and begin to build that skill. And as we also place our attention on what we're grateful for, it expands our ability of seeing more things to be grateful for. And there's a lot more into the science as being grateful, but it also heals you and heals your brain, heals everything about your health, because your attention is on things that are going well. A couple other things that you may want to practice observing and noticing throughout your day are things that catch your attention, that are interests, things that you enjoy. Maybe you go on through your day and you end up helping somebody in teaching them a new skill, whether it's at the gym or teaching them a basketball move, or you help them in a subject in school. And by doing that and by helping them learn something, you may feel a little bit different and notice that you like teaching somebody, you like helping them and delivering something that you understand to them. That, I would say, is a piece to notice throughout your day, or whenever it may happen, because it kind of gives you a hint, a whisper into what your passions are, and not just grand passions like I love teaching or I love sports, but the more and more you practice it, you can begin to funnel down into what the unique passion and thing that you're interested in is. And you can also expand that observation into your dreams and record your dreams and see all the different signs that your subconscious mind might be sending you in the messages as visions and images to help you kind of decipher. It's almost like a code into seeing, what should I get into? And the reason to observe and notice the different interests you have is because it also kind of helps you narrow in and navigate where to go in your own life, what your purpose and your career and your whole passion and fulfillment in life is kind of going towards. And the more and more you pay attention to these different interests, it'll help kind of land, so to speak. Say we're like jumping out of an airplane, skydiving. We have so much land and stuff that we're seeing below us, but the more and more we catch and notice these different pieces, it's almost like we're parachuting around and slowly coming down until we eventually land into our unique spot. And so it can really help you in noticing these different interests and passions you have to then land into your unique passion and your unique purpose. Secondly, journaling is a valuable tool for creation to help you envision great things and goals and intentions that you may have. And this complements and goes and parallels very well with the first step, which is observing. Because as you'll hear often, awareness is the first step to pretty much anything. So when you're noticing, how you've been thinking, how you've been feeling, things that interest you, and everything that we just discussed, now we can take that information, that data, and now channel it into, now that I know how I'm feeling and what my interests are, well, how do I want to think? How do I want to feel on a daily basis? What kind of people do I want to be around? What am I interested in? How do I envision my life? How, all these different grand questions that we can get into. But now you can take all of that information and place these grand ideas and looking towards the future and who you want to become and put that on paper. So now you can also see that, not just from like before, noticing negative thoughts or different things that are going on in your life and choosing to entertain them or engage in them or not. But now you can also consciously decide what you want to go after. Where do you want to place your attention? What's the type of characteristics do you want to cultivate and embody in yourself, and the people you want to surround yourself, and the type of work you want to doing. The Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley has this great activity called the 3 most important questions. And in them it's your experiences you want to have, the contribution you want to contribute to the world, and the third one is growth that you want to have. And so these are just ideas you can put on paper to recognize, in 3 or 5 years down the road, all of the experiences and contributions and growth you want to have in your own life, to then channel that into a journal where you can create all of this. Create your ideal day, create your ideal month, create your ideal week. What does it look like? Add the senses, add the visions, all of that to juice up that vision, so where you can actually feel it now, envision it, and move towards it. There's another great activity I've done called the passion test, in part with the observation like we talked about in the first reason to journal, and creating. It helps you also make decisions. If you're clear on what your passions are, your top passions, then you're able to kind of see, because your attention is on those certain things that interest you, and you're able to notice what those things are or what may arise. Because our brain is a pattern recognizing machine. So you have to be able to see an opportunity to be able to to see it, to be able to take it, we have to be able to see it. So a lot of this creating part of this journaling is because now you're creating and putting down on paper something you'd like to experience, or how you envision your life moving forward, or how you want to contribute, or like those 3 questions I just mentioned Vishen Lakhiani has, because now you have it in your mind, which means you're able to then perceive it, because there's so many things you can place your attention on in any given moment. So by writing down and all these things that we want to experience and we want to think about, and the person we want to become, the more and more we'll begin to recognize those in our life. The more and more we'll be able to practice them in our life and notice them around the world in things that we see throughout the day. The third and final for this video reason to journal, or way to journal, is asking for guidance or writing questions. And this helps a lot with problem solving. Often, like we were talking about at the beginning of the video, and with observing stuff that's going on in our own life, we can find ourselves in a seeming problem. And I say seeming because often it's just our perception that makes us feel that we're stuck, or that we're in a box and we can't get out of it. But by asking for guidance and just writing something out on the paper helps us let go and trust wherever we are. Now, this may sound a little woo-woo to you, or if you're not interested in spirituality or higher power or source or God, whatever you would like to name it, it may sound a little woo-woo. But it also, just by putting it down on paper, for all the reasons mentioned before, it helps you just set it out and let it go. And then with doing that, say you have something that you feel stuck in your own life, by putting it on a paper, writing a question, asking for a sign to get out of it, then you can return to the first way of journaling, which is observing and seeing and begin to notice what signs, what things may arise in your day after you write the question or ask for help just by writing it on a journal. What rises, what things come up that may be out of the ordinary or unusual, or catch your attention, that may give insight into the direction or the decision you to get out of the problem that you think you're in, or on making a decision. A couple really good books that come to mind regarding that. One is called E Squared by Pam Groot. I'll put a link down below of my interview with her on my podcast. But she really takes a lot of this spiritual concepts and puts it into her book E Squared, and into a scientific formula to where you can ask a question or ask for guidance, and then begin to observe in 48 hours what different signs arise that may address and give insight to solving that problem or getting out of that box. Another one is it's called Judaic mysticism, and this one is more specifically geared towards prayer, but I believe it kind of goes along with asking for guidance. But you want to write to God or to higher power what exactly you would like help with, what you would want in your life, or how to get out of a problem, and then how it'll help you, how it'll help others, and how it'll help the world. And by getting on that, it really adds the what and the why, and then the how, as you'll see, will become a lot more easier to notice and to act on. A couple extra journaling ideas I'd like to recommend is, one is venting. Whenever you are just full of fumes, or something really bothered you, or somebody just ticked you off, it's good to actually just get it on paper and to write it out before you react and maybe throw all those negative things you have to say to somebody. And rather than do it out to the other person, and even though some people might think that's being honest, it's not. Get it out on paper and calm down all those emotions that you're experiencing before responding to what needs to be responded to. However, if you do vent and write down all of that, make sure you throw it away, because I think there was even research that showed, if we write down something negative and then look at it again, it can actually bring up those emotions again. So be sure to throw that away. Another good great use of journaling is doodling, whether it's taking notes or just throughout the day, just by even doodling things that you're experiencing or things that catch your eye. It helps engage not just the left part of your brain, but the right center, the right part of the brain, which is really creative. And it's just fun to kind of doodle and draw different things throughout the day. If you like this video and have a couple questions on how you may get started, just simply grab a journal. It can be something a little bit nicer, like here on this journal on Amazon. Don't remember what it's called. Or just any kind of journal, and don't think too much about what maybe to put down, or like it has to be perfect. It's just a place to almost like a diary, things to keep for yourself, and if you want to share with somebody. And it could even be like, I just watched this video by this Solomon guy, like he's, all right, whatever you have to think about me, just by putting what thoughts came up, what your interests are about even this video or something that happened through the day, is a good place to start. And just have fun with it, go with it, and see where it takes you. If you like this video, please let me know in the comment section, or ask a question if there's something I may be able to address or didn't answer in this video. Like this like button, subscribe to my channel so you can get updates for new videos. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching this video, and looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.